Till now we discussed about medical emergencies, what to do, how to recognize. See, whatever may be the emergency, one thing is common. As a first responder, we are going to take that patient to the hospital. Whatever it may be. We are not going to leave any patient at home or on road saying that Baba, you are fine now. We are nobody to decide. Don't do that. Always insist. Always insist. Even if they are refusing, tell them, Baba, please, we'll go. Because we cannot decide anything. We cannot diagnose things. Diagnosis is not our job. Okay, we are there to just help as a support. So take them to the hospital. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about injury emergencies or trauma. Injury. Whatever injury, whatever accident happens, what is the first body part which is going to get affected? Skin. Fantastic. Skin is the largest body part. It is giving you protection. It is a protective layer. It works as a thermostat. It is maintaining your body temperature. It secretes what? Impurities from your body, sweat. So, skin is going to get affected. These are different types of injuries. Okay, different types of injuries here, names are different and severity is different. Okay, we are going to discuss about all these things, what exactly to be done in case of these injuries. First one is abrasion. Okay, before we do this, before we discuss about this, any injury to your body, injection TT is compulsory. TT, injection tetanus toxoid, has to be taken. Okay, go to the hospital, take that injection within 24 hours of your injury. See, it is 6 months. It is 6 months. It is 6 months. Okay, 6 months validity. But in general public don't take, na. Medical professional will have to take. But in general you don't take. It's better always to go and take. Even if you take within 6 months, nothing is going to happen. Okay, if you remember perfectly, Baba, I have taken just now, then you can avoid. It should not be a problem. Okay. Okay. First one is abrasion. It's a superficial injury. Superficial injury. These are very, very minor injuries. Only first layer of the skin is gone. That burning sensation will be there. These are most irritating injuries because you cannot cover it. You are not supposed to cover. You cannot do dressing to these abrasions. You should keep them open. Then only they will get healed faster. Okay. What to be done? As a first aid, you can just wash the wound with normal tap water. Wash the wound with normal tap water. If any dust, any foreign particles are there, remove them. Okay. If any bleeding is happening, try to control them with a direct pressure. Okay. And taking in tetanus injection is must. You should take. Laceration. These are deep cuts. Uneven edges. Deep cuts with uneven. In case of injury, it might happen. So in this also, controlling bleeding, then wound care, wound cleaning is important. You will have to clean with a normal tap water. I am not saying use NS or something. Hospitals we have normal saline, but at home we don't have. So you can use normal water also just to clean and control bleeding. How to control? I am going to teach you all. Control bleeding, then take them to the hospital. Hospitalization is required. If required, if it is deep, stitches, suturing will be done. Okay, you will have to take the patient to hospital. These are avulsions. See, look at this injury. Here also you need to do the same thing, wound care, bleeding control, take them to the hospital. You can dress it, loose dressing with a sterile cloth. Dressing and bleeding control are two different things. Dressing and bleeding control. Which comes first? Which is important? Bleeding control. Till the time the bleeding is not controlled, you are not supposed to tie. Even if you tie, it is of no use. Okay. Then incision, these are also deep cuts with a like knife or blade with equal edges. we call them as incision. In this also, if required, stitches, if not, otherwise normal dressing will be done. For you will have to wash the wound, clean the wound and control the bleeding, take him to hospital. Puncture wounds. Puncture wounds are very, very dangerous. Penetrating injuries, impaled object, whatever we say, different names. What is important here, you know, you are not supposed to remove that impaled object. Why? You are not supposed to remove. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it will be severe bleeding, and again same, while going in it is a sharp object, while coming out also it is going to cut your tissues, and till that time it is there in place, bleeding will be under control. Once it is removed, bleeding will be more. Even you are not supposed to remove. This is a small thing, nail, but if it is a stabbing injury, then also you are not supposed to remove. But what to do then? Not to remove, that doesn't mean you will have to put it in. बाहर गिर जाएगा, अंदर और नहीं डालना है. You are supposed to stabilize that wherever you found it, no? Stabilize that. Put pads both the sides and tape it. Make sure it is not coming out also, it is not going in also, deeper in. That is very important. Never remove the puncture wound. Okay. Then amputation. Amputation is the severe injury where complete cut off of your body part. Okay. If it happens, what to do? You will have to do everything, bleeding control, everything has to be done, and you need to take that amputated body part and go to hospital. Take that amputated body part, wash it with normal tap water, put it in an airtight container, seal, and that seal has to go in ice board. This is how we should take, but these are not, all these things are not available at time. In that time, you just take it, wash it, keep it in a small cloth, sterile one possibly, and take them to hospital. Within 6 hours, if you can reach the hospital where it can be attached, there are chances. It is very rare that you will find a plastic surgeon, very rare. But again, you should give that chance to the patient. If you leave that body part and if you go to the hospital, then afterwards if you come to search the body part, it won't be there. Okay, you should take it. You should remember this. Take that body part and go. Whether it is going to be attached or not, that is not your problem. It all depends. If you get all the resources available, then it can be done. Okay. Just to show you all some pictures, cut injuries. This is abrasion. Very familiar injuries, no? Everybody must have experienced this. If somebody is saying no, you must be lying. Very, very common. Very, very common. Generally, when we fall with outstretched hands. We try to protect our face. Hands will come first. So, these injuries might occur. These are very common and they're manageable. Manageable injuries. You can just wash. You can apply antiseptic lotion. It will be sorted. Within 7 days, it will be done. You don't have to do dressing or something to this. If required, you can take painkiller medicine if it is painful. This is laceration. We already discussed about this. Puncture wounds. Okay. Those who cannot see this picture, no, it's very difficult for you all to handle emergencies. These are very simple ones. In reality, you might find very, very severe injuries. Amputation, I am not showing that picture. Now it comes to get me this dressing pad. Khema is here. Okay, now we will discuss about bleeding control. Bleeding control is a technique and very, very important to save the life. There are two types of bleedings. Internal, which you cannot see. If you cannot see, you cannot do anything. External, you can see and you can try to control it. Okay, these are the bleedings what we can control and we can save lives. Okay, first thing, you should wear a pair of gloves before touching somebody's blood. We call them body substance isolation precautions. Gloves, mask, goggles. In your first aid kit, at least gloves has to be there. Mask nowadays due to COVID, we are all okay with mask. we can have mask on and approach. And mostly if patient is conscious, you can ask patient only to hold. You'll have to tell him how to hold. For example, just assume I am wearing gloves. Okay, can you show the gloves are there, no? Okay, I'm wearing gloves. I'm bleeding from here. I need to hold tight. Direct pressure, tight, firm, for at least 20 minutes. Guys, it is not going to get stopped. This is not allowed. Is it done? We have anxiety, no? See, हुआ क्या देखते रहते हैं. Then that is going to increase the bleeding. For example, this one, first gauze pad is completely soiled with blood. We'll have to put the fresh one on top of that. You should not remove that old one, soiled one. What will happen if you remove? Bleeding will again start. Whatever clotting must have occurred, you will release that also, you will disturb that also. This is how you need to put pressure, direct pressure. If it is not happening with that, next is elevation. Of course, with the direct pressure. Elevation away from the heart's level. Only elevate the extremity only when patient is not complaining of any pain or fracture. I told you all to elevate to control bleeding, and he's fractured his shoulder, still you are lifting. That is wrong. You should ask, sir, is it paining? Can you please lift your hand? If it's okay to elevate the hand, let him do that. Elevation, next. Then directly you can apply tourniquet. If it is not happening with that, tourniquet. Tourniquet is what generally in India people do it first without trying other options. Applying tourniquet is going to solve the bleeding for sure, but that is not a right option. Just to save your finger, little finger, you cannot sacrifice your hand. If you tie here, bleeding is stopped, and the entire blood supply to this body part is also stopped. Try to understand. Our intention is to protect this. For that you are risking entire hand, which is wrong. Never apply tourniquet. It's not a first resort, it is a last option. Okay, in case of amputation, it is gone. You can directly apply because there is no body part to worry about. Okay, now she will show you all how to remove the, wearing the gloves is fine, but removal is very important. Without touching the neck skin, she removed. What you observed here, she didn't touch her hand, neck skin she didn't touch, because the purpose of wearing gloves is to protect yourself from the body's substances, blood or something. While removing, if you touch, it's of no point. Remove properly, removal is very important. Remove properly and put it in a biomedical waste bag, red color. You cannot throw here and there. You cannot throw here and there, you should put it in a proper dustbin. You cannot mix it with regular garbage. You cannot. Okay? And if you are a person who is utilizing that first aid kit, it is your responsibility to make sure the things are put back. Whatever you utilized, you used gloves, you used dressing pads, you used something, you ask the concerned person to replace. You should be prepared for the next emergency. It is your job. Always remember, the person who is utilizing, I am not asking you all to buy and get. You need to inform the person who can get it. Because it's your job, because now gloves are utilized. So all of a sudden something else happened. We don't have gloves now. It's very difficult. You need to replace them. Okay. These are the techniques. What is this? Most common injury in case of accident. You see all these things. Fracture. Okay. It's a complete or partial breakage of bone. Bone is very strong. To break the bone, the impact should be very high. So if impact is high, there will be pain, severe, unbearable pain in fracture. Okay, there will be swelling, there will be deformity. There are two types of fractures, open and closed. Open where bone is out of the skin, closed where bone is fractured but it is not protruding out of the skin. Okay. Once you palpate on top of the skin, you will feel that crepitus sound. Crepitus sound, the one bone touching the other. The broken bone two parts are there, one bone is touching the other, then you will get that crepitus sound, that one. Can you hear that kind of a sound? Okay. And if it is a closed fracture, till the time X-ray is done, you cannot decide it as a fracture. But open fracture, it is open, you can see it is a fracture. In these cases, what you can do generally, what is this? What is this? What is that? What is this? Yes, it's broken, but what first aid is given? This is called splint. There are three ways to manage fracture. 3S. Splint. This is splint, sling, and swath with a full coverage. 3S. Okay. Splint. First one is splint. This is sling. We are going to tie. Okay, and swath. SWATHE. Okay. That one is to give full protection. You can see that brownish color you get. People roam around with that, no? They tie. So, what is the purpose of splinting? Why we want to do splinting? To stabilize the body part. Yes. To restrict the movement. To control the bleeding. To control swelling also. Okay. This is the purpose of splinting. Splinting is the only option in case of fracture as a first aid. Even the treatment also on the same lines. Treatment also nothing much. They will put POP, but same thing. It is also splinting. In olden days, what they used to do, they used to tie with the wooden sticks only. That is the treatment for fracture. The healing of the bone happens naturally. The medicine given is to fill that gap with the calcium. If you know anybody who got fractured and all, painkillers and calcium tablets are given, nothing much. Because that healing is natural. The gap has to be filled. If the gap is more, then deformity will be there. If it is a minor, it will attach. Only calcium is required, that will be done. In splinting, we need to identify. Come, Khema. We need to identify the site where fractured. And depend, for example, I am taking the example of this hand only here. I got fractured here. Okay. To control bleeding and to do splinting, what I should do and restrict movement, I need to cover one joint above and one joint below. Because if I move the wrist, this part is moving. If I move the elbow, this bone is moving. So I need to cover both. If I am putting only splint here, this much, small one, it is not going to help. I will still move. Even if you say, patient Papa, don't move, he will say, okay sir, okay sir, okay sir. He will move and say, okay. Everything will be, what happened? Doubt. Yeah, that's what I tell. That is called open fracture. Open fracture. When you can see the bones, no? That is called open fracture. In that splinting only we are going to do. You are not supposed to put it back. It is a hospital job. If bone is like this, actually in hospital what they will, they will just pull it and put it here, then tie. But that thing is not allowed as a first responder. You will have to tie like that only. However you find that bone, you will have to tie. Because that traction, what we call is traction. Traction is not allowed in first aid. In the hospital they will do, because that has to be put back in a normal position. Okay, it is painful. To give traction, nobody is going to give you anesthesia, especially in government hospitals. They'll just pull it back, put it there and then tie. But here we are just going to give normal splint. Okay. One joint above, one joint below, I'll have to close. Accordingly, I need to select the size of the splint. These splints are semi-rigid splints. Cushion is also there, aluminum plate is there. But these splints are not available everywhere. You will not find these splints in hospitals also. What can be used in this place? Books you can use, cardboard you can use, wooden stick you can use. Sorry? What you said? boxes, of course, that cardboard what I was talking about. Because first aid, quiet please. First aid is all about improvisation. It's not that Baba ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, nahi. Whatever is there with you, with that what you can do. It's not about complaining. Whatever resources you have at that moment, what best you can do with that. So whatever is available with that you can do. The purpose is that the size has to be proper, and you'll have to check PMS, pulse, motor activity and sensory function. Pulse, I'm checking pulse here. Sensory, touch feel हो रहा है नहीं. And motor function, you ask the patient to move the hand, fingers. If all three are intact, then you can splint. After splinting, you will have to check PMS again. After you tied the splint, one of these functions are missing. That means you must have tied very tightly. That is wrong. That moment you should not remove completely, you should just loosen it. Just loosen it and see. Once you checked PMS, that time initially there is no PMS, then you can tie, no issues. But PMS was there before, now it is not there. That means you are at fault. It's a wrong technique. You cannot tie it tightly. Okay. Now they will demonstrate. In the practice, we all get chance to practice. Whenever you are tying that sling, you should ask the patient whether he is comfortable or not. Depending on his convenience, you can place that hand. This is how you can do that. Yeah.
When someone has a fracture, with the pain, you can go in and out of consciousness because of pain, right?
Okay.
Have you experienced someone fainting for a long period of time because of the pain?
No, it all depends. See, pain, like the pain scale is different for you and me also. Few people can bear the pain, few people cannot. As soon as they get little injury also, they will get collapsed. Okay, but that is not going to affect their health as such, because they are like that only. They are very sensitive to the pain. Even if they are unconscious at that moment, you can still do the splinting part. Okay, and other things you can check. Whatever we are going to teach you in BLS, CPR, those things you can check. If all things are normal, then you don't have to worry much. See, unconsciousness is not dying. If somebody is unconscious, that doesn't mean they are not there. They are there. You'll have to check. If pulse is not there, then they should worry. You should worry. Yeah? Thank you. Chalo. Sprain. Next thing is sprain. Sprain is not a fracture. It's a ligament tear. It is also very painful. Very painful. Splinting can be done. Yeah. Yeah, very good question. We have, actually cardboard you can cut into different sizes, no issues. We have 4 different sizes: short leg, short arm, long arm. Four types of. Even lower extremities also we can tie. And finger fractured, then you need to take support of the other finger and tie with the support of this. If collarbone fractured, I am going to block this place. This, because if I move this is moving. Here I am not going to tie anything. Nothing is here. I am going to tie here, so that no splinting. There is something called spine board. Complete patient will be on that board. It becomes a bigger splint. Entire body can be stabilized. Yes. Like that. You cannot put anything on back and tie. It is a board. In general, for trauma cases, we use spine board. We call it as spine board. The spine board becomes a bigger splint. Back back fractures or any multiple fractures. See, if he fractured both the legs, hands, everywhere fracture, then you cannot waste time splinting all the body parts separately. You are going to tie him to that board, bigger board. Okay, if it is available, of course. Okay. Now we are talking about sprain. Sprain is not a fracture. Typical example इसका क्या है? What is the typical example? Swell. No, example. How it happens? Sprain happens when? Huh? Sport injuries, fantastic. And high heels. Somebody is walking with the high heels. It happens. The entire body weight comes on that ankle. There, quiet, please, quiet. Okay, it comes on the ankle. For this, what to do? 3 days bed rest with legs elevated. You can apply ice. There is something called RICE. RICE. Okay, rest, immobilization, compression bandage. This is what? Compression bandage. Okay, sports people will know about it. Okay, and elevation. Within 2-3 days, you should be fine. If not, then you should go for X-ray to rule out any hairline fracture. If it is not going, then you will have to go for X-ray. Okay. Eye injuries, very common when you are driving. When you are driving, something hits you an eye and something. That time you will have to just wash with a copious amount of water. You are not supposed to rub. You are not supposed to rub. If anything goes into your eyes, any foreign object, you will have to wash. It should come out with the water only. Okay, washing has to be at least for 20 minutes. It won't come just like that. You will have to wash. If you start rubbing, if you do something else to remove, then it will cause more trouble. Okay, burn injuries, which is very important. Again, skin comes into picture. If anything goes wrong, first affected part is skin. Skin has 3 layers. Epidermis, superficial, first one. Dermis, subcutaneous. Depending on the layer which is burnt, burns are divided into 3 categories. First one, superficial burns are first degree, like hot water burns, hot tea, hot coffee, only redness and pain, nothing much happen. That is, in that case, what to do? You will have to wash with normal tap water. Never put ice or chilled water on burn side. As I already told you, skin is your protective layer. It is protecting you and giving, controlling your body temperature. Already it is damaged. On top of that, you are putting ice, your body temperature will go down. You are not supposed to do that. And then, second degree, where the other epidermis is done and dermis also get affected. These are painful burns, painful. How to identify these? You will find blisters, water-filled bubbles on top of the skin. If blisters are found, that is second degree. What not to do in this? You are not supposed to break the blister. In the process of cleaning, something might happen, that's fine. But you are not supposed to take the pin purposefully and break, because even though it is burned, your skin is still intact. There is no opening yet. You are not supposed to give that opening. Once you open the skin, you are inviting all kinds of infections. Burned patient dies because of secondary infections, mostly. Burned patient dies because of secondary infections because there is no protection. So you need to take care of that. Just wash with normal tap water, put a loose dressing, and take them to hospital. Clear? And the third degree are full thickness. These are painless burns. Painless. Why painless? Nerves are damaged. There is nobody to give intimation to the brain. Baba, it's burned. It has to pain. There is nothing, no connection. Completely gone. These are very, very bad burns. In this, amputation is the option. Amputation. They'll have to cut and remove to save other body part. Okay. If it happens to full body, then chances are very less. For example, in a laboratory and all, acid will fall on the hand or leg. In that case, they'll have to lose that body part. If it is acid, completely gone. Third degree burns. Okay. The whenever we handle, see, this is not for you all, for information I am telling you, you are not supposed to do that. The depending on the burnt area, the chances will depend how much burn and what degree burns. What degree burns and how much burn. Depending on that, the chances of that patient will be there. Even if you give perfect first aid, he has 3rd degree burns all over the body, chances are very less. Chances are very less, because especially oil burns, oil enters into lower layers. It won't be nothing, but after some time you will find everything is gone. Okay. In this case also you will have to just take them to hospital, cover it with loose dressing and take them to hospital. Okay. Electric shock. What can you do? What is the best way? Stop it completely. Don't try to be like a Superman or something. Don't go and touch the patient. You should stop it completely. Best way. Rule out the danger completely. What is the reason for patient's death in electric shock? What will happen? It stops the heart. Electricity passes through the heart. Okay. So for that reason, the CPR is going to help. CPR is going to help in this case, which we are going to discuss later on. Okay. Never put water on electric shock patient. How many of you want to put water? Nobody, right? Water is good conductor of electricity. We should never put water. Okay. Just switch off mains, automatically your patient will be down. You can take the patient to hospital immediately. And the electric shock patient should go to the hospital even if he is fine. If you go to hospital, doctor will keep you under observation. He will take ECG. You all know what is ECG. Every 2 hours, every 3 hours they compare the rhythm, because it affects your heart rhythm. After 24 hours they will send you home if nothing is there. But not going to the hospital is not the option. Now you are fine. After a few months or years, the heart problem will start. Okay, you need to go to hospital. Now we are going to discuss about environmental emergencies. Bites, very common in Goa especially. What should be your next action? If you are here, this is you, what will you do now? Chalo, site of bite will change. Don't worry. Chalo, site of bite may be hand. So what will you do now? Hospital, yes, fine. You should go to hospital. Before that, what? You should wash the wound under running tap water with any soap. Any soap. Don't go search for Dettol, Savlon and all. Whatever soap you get, you wash it. Rub hard and wash. This washing is very important. Why we are worried about dog bite? What will happen? Rabies. Do we have any treatment for rabies? Till now, nothing. If you get rabies, nothing can be done. But we have a vaccine, anti-rabies vaccine. Always remember, vaccines are prophylaxis. Before you get any infection, you are going to take. Then it will help. But after getting infected, it is not going to help. You take the vaccine before, you will not get. You got the infection, now you are taking vaccine, it will not work. That vaccine you will have to take. TT is also required here. TT, injection TT. They will give. Hospital only give you TT first dose में. During. Sorry. How long? What? Once you take the vaccine. Okay. If you take all 5 doses, now it is 4. It is reduced. It is 3 years. And few doctors will give you 3 doses. If it is a superficial, then 1 year. Okay. These 2 doses are. What you are asking? That is the question, right? If you are asking me what time you have to take the vaccine, 24 hours. 24 hours. Yeah, that's why I am telling you all. Wash the wound and rush to any government facility. Any government facility, you will get free of cost injection. If you take it from outside, it is costing around 500 rupees per dose. Option is yours. You can go to government facility, you can get it. If you don't want to go to government, you can take it and take it from any clinic. That should not be a problem. Okay. Got doubts? Huh? Salivation. Salivation, continuous salivation. And hydrophobia. Okay? Hydrophobia. Hydrophobia, you understood, no? Hydrophobia, and they are phobic to light also. They cannot see the light. No, they are phobic to light. Okay? And snake bite. Next emergency is snake bite. Now I wanted to listen from you all. What will you do now? As of before I could explain, as per your knowledge, current knowledge, what will you do if somebody is having this problem now? Huh? You will calm, reassurance, yes, best, I accept. Sorry? Tourniquet. What else? Yeah. Yeah, tying, no? Okay, what else? It's always good to know. But people know generally what they do, you know, I used to work in the hospital. They used to get the snake to the hospital. They used to kill the snake and get. But you don't have to run behind the snake. That is important, but that is not that important also. If you know, see, being a common people, we know one or two snakes, we can identify. Maybe we know what is cobra, because now Nagin made this very famous, so most of us know about cobras. Okay, and kite, maybe few people know kite. Those who work on field, farmers, they know better than us, because they get to see so many other snakes which are non-poisonous also. Okay, so it is not about the snake here, it is all about your mindset to save, if you are a patient also or rescuer also. There are two types of snakes, poisonous, non-poisonous. Okay, if you don't know whether it is poisonous or non-poisonous, okay, you think it is poisonous, but actually this is not poisonous. Because you think it is poisonous, you are worried, you might have your cardiac issues, your heart might stop because of stress. Okay, nothing is going to happen to you because it is non-poisonous snake, but we don't know at that moment. Okay, as a rescuer, when you talk to the patient, always say, Baba, this is non-poisonous snake, you don't worry. But when you are doing your work as a rescuer, you should think every bite as poisonous. Till the time you are not sure, you consider every bite is a poisonous bite, poisonous snake, and act accordingly. Split personality. When you are talking to the patient, you are saying something else. When you are doing your work, you are doing in a different manner, because you are saying it is non-poisonous only because to calm the patient. That doesn't mean you are going to sit with him, say, giving reassurance, nothing will happen. After some time he will die. You should not do that. You should act fast, but don't show that what you call tension in front of the patient, because he is going to die before he could reach the hospital. Because none of us know what is poisonous, what is non-poisonous also. Okay, and few of you mentioned about applying tourniquet, and few people cut the wound, or few people suck blood out of that wound, thinking that they are sucking poison out of it. Once it is in the blood stream, entire blood is poisonous. If you want to remove blood, you will have to remove entire blood, which is not possible. Removing little blood, and after that in movies they become unconscious also. They'll give the impression that he must have consumed that poison for that patient, but that is not going to happen like that. Sucking the wound is not advised, and even tourniquet is not advised, because as I already told you, once bite happens, it enters into your bloodstream and your heart is functioning continuously. Within no time it is circulated everywhere. So nobody is going to just bite happen, immediately tying, no. Nobody can do that. After some time somebody will come and die. Again the same problem is same. Once tourniquet is applied means your entire supply to this body part is stopped. Okay, how long you are going to keep the tourniquet? It is not going to help also. Okay, and first thing you will have to inform somebody that the snake bite happened, snake bit you, because once you become unconscious it is very difficult to find out. Okay, these marks will be there, and swelling, redness will be there in poisonous snake bite cases. Okay, as I already told you initially, there is something called fear of death, chest pain and snake bite. Snake bite generally people scared, because of that scare people die. Okay, that concept, in that only the reassurance is going to save. Reassurance, be with them, tell them don't worry, you will be fine. There are stings. What leaves stings? Honeybees. Honeybee stings. Honeybee stings are poisonous as well. Yeah.
For snake bites, we have to take them to the government hospital.
Yes, yes. Antivenom. Anti-snake venom, ASV. But thing is, guys, now that you asked, I was not supposed to tell you that, but ASV, anti-snake venom, is dangerous than poison at times. That's why people at peripheral level won't take the risk, because if something goes wrong, some ulta reaction happened, then they need the support. Ventilator is required, ICU setup is required. Generally few doctors will not give you, because he is not very sure. They do blood clotting test. Again it comes to poison is also two types. One is homogeneous, other one is neurogenous, which directly affects your brain, kills you fast, but which affects your blood will give you some time. Once they check the clotting time, that clot won't happen. That's how they confirm it is related to blood. Then they will give the ASV, but ASV is same for both. There is no separate ASV. Then they, yes, they do. No, it won't show. Only clotting won't happen. Drive. I understand. See, again the topic is going very deeper now. They bite now. They release the poison. For the second bite, they don't have the poison. It takes some time to produce. For example, patient 1 and patient 2 side by side. For you, there will be poison release. And for second bite, immediately the poison won't be there. It will take some time to produce also. Like that. But the blood test won't tell you whether it is poisonous or non-poisonous. It will tell you whether it is related to blood or blood, it is affecting the blood or brain. If clotting is happening, then we consider it as neurogenous. Okay. And other thing, the swelling will keep on increasing. Swelling, if it is a poisonous, pain will increase. If non-poisonous, swelling will go down gradually. Okay. Anyways, it is a real emergency, immediate action is required. The guesswork is not going to work. Doctor, and a dose, single dose of ASV is 10 vials. 10 vials of 10 ml. 10 vials. That much we need to give. But doctors at primary level, generally they give 5, 6 vials and they send. Okay, it's like that. It is very complicated. But for you as a first responder, give them reassurance, take them to the hospital. Till he reaches hospital, he should be alive. Our target should be that much. Okay. Stings. Even stings are poisonous if they are like multiple stings. What happens? It leaves one sting. On top of that, there is a bubble in which poison will be there. If you press and remove, squeeze and remove, you are yourself releasing poison. You will have to lift it up. Take the card, any ATM card or something, you can just lift it up. Try to lift it up without spoiling that bubble on top of the thing. Okay, if it is 1 or 2, we can still manage, but multiple, then it's very difficult. We cannot do anything. We should take them to hospital. In worst scenario, it is going to affect your respiratory system. Your airway will be blocked. Swelling will be there. That's how patient die. Yeah, you are asking something? Yeah. For example, see here it is there. I am going to lift it up so that it comes out directly. If I press and remove it is easy. I can just squeeze and remove it. But if you, whenever you are squeezing, you are releasing the poison. To avoid that, you just scrape it out. Okay. Cold related, very less here, but generally we talk about drowning. Drowning if patient is inside the water for so long. Sorry? Scorpion bites. Scorpion bite also same thing. There are poisonous scorpions, non-poisonous also. So you will have to go to hospital, wash the wound, take them to hospital. And it is very, very painful compared to other bites. Scorpion bite is painful. You should. No. No. You are asking about scorpion, right? Yeah. There will be poisonous also. You should go to hospital. Scorpion. Okay. Cold related, patient's temperature, body temperature will be low. See, environmental, basically it is related to like temperature suddenly drops down. For example, if from here we go to Kashmir or any country where temperatures are low, our body will take little time to adjust. Okay, till you get adjusted with that acclimatization, till then the stiffness will be there, you will be confused. Okay, simple thing is you need to produce heat. You need to produce heat and improve your temperature, because that is how it will help. Heat related, this is common during sports day. All the kids will be collapsed, and during regular morning mass also kids at times they collapse because of dehydration. They don't drink water. What to do? Take them to the shelter where fans are there, at least air condition. You can give them something to drink, spray water on them and fan. Spray water on them and fan them. So automatically temperature will go down. Decreasing temperature is easy, but increasing temperature is not easy. Okay, you can reduce temperature drastically by doing this cooling measures, evaporation. But to increase temperature, it is not going to be easy. Okay, we are going to put blankets, warm blankets. In worst scenario, there is warm fluids also. In hospitals, in Goa we don't have warm fluids. Direct IV, they'll insert IV cannula and they'll give warm fluids, so the temperature will improve. Okay. In drowning, cause of death is aspiration. Aspiration. What is aspiration? Lungs. Water in the lungs is a cause, not in the abdomen. So pressing abdomen is not at all advised. People take them out of the water and they'll press the abdomen, they'll remove water out of their abdomen. That is not going to save. Okay, and on top of that you are going to damage hollow organs inside. Whatever organs are there, you are pressing hard. Already is in trouble, you are giving more trouble to him. Okay, if he is aspirated completely, he will die. If not, he will be alive. But by pressing abdomen, you cannot remove water from lungs. So pressing is not at all advised. And the second reason for death is hypothermia. Hypo is what? Low. Temperature is low. Okay. You need to, if your patient is luckily conscious, then you need to look for his hypothermia. You need to manage the temperature. Remove all the wet clothing, dry him up. Try to put blankets on him, improve his temperature. Otherwise, he will die of hypothermia also. Okay. In drowning cases, safety is important. You are not supposed to jump into water to save somebody. Understood? Even if you are a swimmer, if you know the swimming, it is not easy. It is not everybody's cup of tea to save somebody from water. Because of the fear, they will hold you tightly. They will hold your legs. What will you do? Try to understand. Safety is important. We should help. There will be trained personnel. For example, at swimming pools or at beaches also nowadays we have lifeguards. Let the professional come and take them out. Understood? So we know swimming, but we don't know how he is going to react. He will be like scared, completely scared. He will take you with him. It is very, very difficult. Don't do that. Safety is very important. Okay. And we treat drowning as trauma, accident. Consider this neck injury also, especially in swimming pools. If they dive from like height, no, the swimmers, if they land on their head, their neck is gone. their neck is gone. You take care of their neck movement also. You take care of neck movement also, because it is going to give them paralysis for lifetime if you don't take care of it. Okay? And this is active fire. If somebody is on fire now, he is running here and there for help. How to help them? How many of you want to run behind him with a blanket? You want to run behind him with a blanket? You will also catch fire. Okay, fire will catch you because of air, oxygen. What you will have to do is stay here, give instructions to him. Stop, drop and roll on the floor, so that the firing process is stopped. Then you can go, you can put the blanket, fire blanket on top of them. In these cases, if cloth is like stick to your body, you should not remove, peel and remove. Whatever you can remove, remove. If it is stick, let it be, you cannot peel it off. And ornaments, gold rings and bracelet, you should remove, because after burns there will be swelling. Once swelling happens, this ring will act as a tourniquet. It will stop blood supply to this part. So you will have to remove that and give it to the patient or relatives. Okay. And then take them to the hospital immediately. You can put water on these patients. Okay. Now the next and the last one is poisoning. Poisoning can be accidental or intentional also. If it is intentional, then what we call, they must be trying to commit suicide. So that happens in India. Suicide attempts are there. There may be n number of reasons. There are suicide attempts. What you will have to do, you will have to reach there. You take care of the patient. Generally in India, what we react, we shout at the patient. What happened? Why you did this? What you ate? He wants to die. He is not going to cooperate. If he tells you, I have taken this, then why he must have consumed? So you need to find some way, some other way to find out what has been consumed. What has been consumed is important for you, for the doctors. How to check bedside or dustbin out of the window, check any empty bottles or tablet strips are there. You need to check that. And consumption is what is consumed is important. What you need to know, what is been consumed, the quantity, how much and when. These three things are important to treat, because most of the chemicals absorb into your body within half an hour. If it is more than half an hour, it is already absorbed. There is something called inducing vomiting. Most of you all know about it. But that is helpful only within half an hour only. You cannot do afterwards. Within half an hour, it will, like, part of the poison might come out if you induce vomiting. But after half an hour, don't do it. It unnecessarily creates gastric irritation to him. Okay. Take them to hospital immediately. Don't waste any time. If they are conscious, try to find out why it is consumed is not your problem now. We don't want to know why he consumed now. We want to know what has been consumed. Clear? If patient is conscious, luckily, you should ask this question, what you ate. You should not ask why. Why is not important here. The reason can be known afterwards. But now, without wasting time, because he may be unconscious after some time. After that, nobody will tell you. The first question you should ask is, what is been consumed and what is the quantity, how much, 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles, and when, timing, estimated time. Okay, if he tells, well and good. If he not, then it's very difficult. At the hospital, if nothing is known, they'll have to remove that from the gastric lavage, what we call. Then that will be sent for laboratory testing. Afterwards, after testing, we'll come to know what is been consumed. But till then, by then, it's already too late, because every chemical has its own antidote. Treatment is not same for everything. The gastric lavage is common, but treatment will depend on the chemical what is been consumed. So knowing the consumed chemical is important for us. Okay. Any doubts here? Otherwise we are done with this, but let me check the time. We can have one more session. Food is ready? What is saying? But 1:30 we can break, no? Srinivas is here. Srinivas. Stretch break. One more session. Any doubts here, guys? Almost we are done with the session. There is some instructions, Srinivas. Accordingly, please follow. Once it is done, 1:30 we will break for lunch. 45 minutes lunch break. After that, practicals. We are going to divide you all into 3 groups. 3 groups. We will set up 3 skill stations. Everybody will get opportunity to practice.